How is everyone today? I'm sure you'll all pop in eventually and then, have a seat. I'm just here to talk about some fun stuff that I've been encountering. I'm having snacks and relaxing. It's more of a chat, hang out, talk about what's going on in the world. So I don't know how many people are going to show up today. But the great part about these lives is that you can watch them afterwards if you need to. This was kind of last minute, It's like not like I was like, oh, let's plan this. So, there's a main subject here today that I'm sure we can all feel. Those of us who build drones, among other things. It's happening all over the world. It's on almost every product. And that's tariffs. And I actually want to talk about one of the most recent experiences I had with tariffs and building drones. And I'm still going through it right now. Today, I was supposed to have delivered two Mad Components ESCs. They're 18S ESCs, 120 amp, and that's for the big drone. As soon as it hits Stockton, then I get notified by DHL. Hi, how you doing? Black Chadwick. Welcome to the chat. So, we're discussing tariffs, obviously, with building drones. So, it gets stateside, and then I get a text and a couple phone calls saying that I have duty I have to pay. So let's break this down. So each ESC was only $85. That's not a bad price at all for an ESC of that caliber, anyway. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to it. Oh, Gamer Kid. Okay, gotcha. Understood. Amy, welcome. So what I was talking about was the fact that I was building a massive drone. It's 5 feet by 5 feet, has 340 millimeter EDF bladed engines. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I will show it to you in this live. So, how much did they gauge you? Well, okay, so the story is I go to Mad Components, I get two ESCs. Those are only $85. I have to pay DHL $40 for shipping. Okay, because it's overseas. So, understandable. Great. There weren't a lot of options for 18S ESCs in the 120 amp range that were stateside. Now, I did recently find some, and we're going to go with those. So, that's going to be a whole other video because we're going to put them head to head on the same drone. And I have a thermal camera. We're going to see how they actually work and which ones are more efficient than the others. He built a real Mustang. We'll get to that. so so everything's so I do the order. The order gets to stateside SFO, the source facility and whatnot through customs. It's all the way to where it's just ready to be delivered. It's near my city now. And as soon as it hit that, DHL pops up with in order to complete this delivery, you have to pay duties and taxes. So on top of the $40 that I paid for shipping for these two $85 ESCs, on top of that, I pay 85. So it's like 217 at checkout, 220 bucks, somewhere around there, for two of them. Now I have to pay another $59.14 in taxes before they'll even deliver it to my door. Now, this is through DHL. So now I have to pay another $60 on the two $85 items that I already paid $40 in shipping for. So I'm literally paying an extra $100 just to have them delivered to my house from another country. As anybody who builds drones knows that this is ridiculous. I remember, so I'm researching the Maytech flight controller a couple of months ago, 6 months ago. It's like 45 bucks. And then now you can get it on Amazon, which is already stateside, but it's like 119. So they've already added the tariffs into the price, and then you can get it, but it's over twice the price. Oh, I know I'm getting ripped off, but I'm doing it because I don't have a choice. I did find a few ESCs stateside. They are a little bit more expensive than the 85. We're talking 120. So either way, you're paying that tariff markup, even because they're going to mark up the price here, even if they're made stateside, which I don't even think that they are. These are specific. I forget the brand name. I will show it to you when they get here. But we're going to go with the two MAD components 120 amp ESCs, and then we're going to go with the two American made ones that I saw. At least I believe they're American made, because you can get them through Amazon. They're already here. And we're gonna see how they work. They're both the same voltage, same amps. They both hook up through drone CAN relatively the same way. So we're gonna see. My biggest concern is what the quality is. So when I put it through the load of the fan, we're gonna have a thermal camera on it, so that we can actually see what's going on inside the CSC. Okay, is the one that I ordered on the stateside better than the one from China, from Mad Components? And you can't blame me or the company that's selling it. You have to blame the policies that are going on with the tariffs. And of course, everybody's freaked out about the government shutdown because I'm on vet benefits, so I don't even know if I'm getting paid next month. And because I'm on vet benefits and I can't work, I do use the SNAP program, which is where I get my food stamps. And now I'm being told that we might not get that. So, it's kind of it's all hitting at once. It's all hitting at once, and I think it's ridiculous. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever had to deal with in my life, and I've been alive a long time. It just makes it harder for us all the way around, and especially for us as creators who want to create new drones or have a hobby, or would even like to eat food. It makes it difficult for us to get anything done. So I got to dive into what cash reserves I have, to something to supplement my food, of course. But you can't skimp out on these, right? I can't skimp out on the energy. Got to keep going, and a chip, of course. But in the end, how does this end? I mean, how do we end up solving this issue? Hello, Amen. I no idea. What is it? Vlog and gaming. Okay, vlog and gaming. Amen, vlog and gaming. How you doing? Welcome to the channel. Sorry, I didn't want to butcher your name too much. Now, I didn't expect a lot of people to jump in and watch this chat today. Mainly because it's just something I wanted to talk to the people that I know who typically watch me. I wanted to kind of let them know, get their opinions on the whole situation. It's like, what are we doing here? Because it comes down to fixing the trade or building stateside. Building stateside is what we should have been doing from the beginning. Bare arms, total removal of all entitlement programs. That's how you fix it. What would you consider an entitlement program? Gabrielle Bolton, get a job. UNC. I don't know what the UNC means. Care to elaborate, or are you just going to leave that there? But yeah, Bear Arms, what entitlement programs do you think, what are you talking about specifically? Are you telling me to get a job? Because I did my job. Old person. Okay, yeah. You can call me an old person. I don't care. You can throw insults at me all day. I don't care. When it comes down to it, I fought for my country. I get my benefits. I hope I still get my benefits next month. And because of my injuries, I had to lean on the state, which was to help feed the family with the SNAP program. And now we don't know if that's going to go away or disappear next month, or we're not going to get it, or it's going to be delayed. Boomer. You think I'm a boomer? Okay, so someone explain this to me. What is the birth age of the boomers? What's the year? Well, Bear, I agree we could stop spending totally, but what programs? See, this is the argument that people have. They get rid of entitlement programs, get rid of this policy, get rid of that policy, but there's no specifics. Nobody wants to say, this is what needs to go, this is what needs to stay. It's like a protester in the street. You ever ask them what they're protesting about, they can't even give you a definition. Boomers from the 40s, 60s plus. Well, I'm Generation X, so I was born in 76, so I'm not exactly sure now what your point is. I assume you mean boomers? I'm not entirely sure. now we're in World War II. Well, not that old. Interesting proposition. So, hold on. Don't be upset about benefits disappearing. That's what people vote for. Um, I'm not upset about it because I'll survive one way or the other. See, because I have a certain set of skills that every human being should have in the event that infrastructure fails, and that's I know how to survive in the wild. Um, I'm also well equipped to take exactly what I need when I need it. So you can go ahead and ride that one for a while. It sounds like Gabrielle was a little um, peeved at me. I didn't see the messages; they were redacted. It's probably just nonsensical bullshit, like most of the people on her side of the aisle. Um, who knows? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You just have to deal with the consequences of that opinion if you plan on speaking it out. So, yeah, I find it funny that people come in here and just be, hateful and everything else. I'm sitting here trying to discuss the tariffs and what's actually going on in the world, and then we've got people like that coming in here just spewing garbage. Grandchildren? Yeah, go away, Gabrielle. What are you trying to do? If you people don't seem to understand that you can't bait me that easily. You just can't. And I find it quite amusing that you take out the time to even try. Ghoster Travels. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I know trolls. It's always trolls. Um, but they're funny because it's sort of like having your own little blind ignorance pet that runs around. That's what the trolls are for me. The name sounds familiar, Coaster. I kind of remember you, but to be honest, you'll have to refresh my memory. With 17,000 people on my channel, I'm starting to lose track of things. I'm starting to understand now why people don't respond all the time to all comments, even though I do my best to try to respond to every comment. Uh, I've, hold on, we want to make sure we have audio because I had a phone call try to come in. I'm just curious on how you're like, do you remember me? You completely changed your name. No, there's no picture with it that I recognize either. How you been? It's funny how people do that. Get on the phone. Do you remember me? If I mean, even a voice would help, right? But no, no. Why would I remember you? I do now, but with a different name change, I just. Oh boy! I tell you, you guys are funny. I love it. What the? What are you talking about, dumbass? Well, you'd cry if you knew my IQ. You really would. It's nice of you to come up here and boast like that, but I don't give a shit. Have a nice day. Yeah, that was funny. It was a good one. That was a good one. It was a good one, Science World. Or Coaster Travels, I should say. Zane, hi, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm reading the chat over here, so if I look away, that's why. But yeah, Gabrielle, I, I don't. Oh, is it Gabrielle or Gabriel? I'm sorry. You sounded like a woman with all the complaining. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it? Is it Gabrielle or Gabriel? I have no idea. Anyway, the point is, you mentioned I look unmarried, which has been completely untrue for the past 17 years. So, and most of the generations after me wouldn't understand what a 17-year marriage is like because they usually get married and divorced after 6 to 8 months, mainly because they're needy, self absorbed baristas, probably. And the only news that they get is orchestrated through their existential crisis rectangle, which they're holding now. So I fully expect that kind of ignorance from someone like Gabrielle or Gabriel or whatever. I'm going to say Gabrielle because sounds like he's bitching like a woman to me. So yeah, sometimes I wonder if her asshole gets jealous of the shit that comes out of her mouth. I totally agree with that one. Nick's go to bed. Dude, I wish I could. I'd go right back to bed. That I agree with you on that one. But the fact that you want to see me in bed's a little disturbing. Onions cry. That's a good one. Even onions cry. I like that. Hilla, welcome. Ooh, we've got update coming here on America first or Israel first. Well, something tells me we're going to war either way, so who cares? But we always have to stand with Israel. How are you doing, David? C. Bolus. I think it's Bolus. I don't want to mispronounce your name. I feel like it disrespects people when I do that. I try to pronounce the names, but some of the names on here are jumbled. Oh, Gabriella, are you upset? Oh man. Thank you, David. I appreciate the pass. I think I think I think she does. Need to sit in the corner. But I want to see what she says next because it's almost like watching. I love watching Sky News because they focus on the lefties losing it thing, and it's an Australian news company. But I just love watching it on YouTube, and it just for me it's fun. It's like I miss the Jerry Springer episodes, So having Gabrielle talk is actually kind of fun. Hey, my email, day trader. My email is in my bio. If you've got ASA settings, ASA arrow settings is what I'm looking for. Because I got pretty close, but that stuff is horrible. I'm telling you. Bravo, Bear Arms, bravo. Bonnie, hi. Welcome. I must have some tobacco pipe. And yes, YouTube, this video has already been labeled that it's not for children, so tobacco is perfectly fine for me. You have a guy that actually reads Lord of the Rings books while he smokes a pipe online, so if you're gonna ding me, ding him too. I like to, I got away from cigarettes a long time ago because it was just pack and a half a day, you know? I was like, I couldn't do it anymore. So this is more rewarding, and I don't do it as often because of the type of tobacco that it is. Javon Schmidt. This name sounds familiar. Um, it does. I can't remember the conversation, but the name does sound familiar. Yeah, see, the ASA individual, let them know that I am live, please. It's my brother. That sounds like a shipment out front. Is it Amazon, or do I need to get this get the diddly out?
It's the pharmacy.
It's what?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy?
Yes.
I just picked up the stuff at the pharmacy. Hold on, I have to go wrangle the Huskies real quick. Go completely mad. Just one moment. Gabrielle, go ahead and spout off or whatever. Oh yeah, I responded. Just keep watching. All right. Well, when you got one husky that's half Malamute and the other one's half coyote, so one howls like they found a new friend, while the other one wants to eat them. Gabrielle, you don't dictate what happens in chat. I dictate what happens in chat. My moderators dictate what happens in chat. Bill Gates. Tariff duty tax loan forgiveness program. Well, you got information on that. Pay for what parts? Did you take care of the tariffs? Did you already handle the tariffs? Javon, you've already said that twice. I said I do remember the name vaguely, but I don't remember the conversation. So if you could refresh my memory, that would be great. Another CG? That's a little bit vague. What bust? Oh. Well, don't say all that stuff on here. What? I can't transfer it right now. Oh, the gambling bust. Where was that at? Okay. Well, don't give out any card information on the chat, okay? Whatever you do. But I do find it funny when people do try to steal my identity, because I've had several fraud warnings, like somebody wanting to buy a house or something like that, or trying to, in my name. And I wish I could get like a warning ahead of time, like this is what they're trying to do, because I want to be at the bank filming them when they were laughed out of there with my credit. You know, 'cause I never used it. You know, I was in the army. I had other stuff I was doing. I wasn't worried. I wasn't using credit cards. You know. What the hell is it? What is Gabrielle spouting off about now? Presser on NBA gambling by the mob. Oh well, there's a surprise. You know. You mentioned the mob, like, oh no, the mob was doing something illegal? No! Say it ain't so. Wow. I wonder if they'll ever find Jimmy Hoffa. What do you think? Rip a cig on stream. People smoke all the time. You guys are recording, putting out shorts and shit of people smoking while they're getting pulled over by the cops, running people down. And you worried about me smoking a pipe with tobacco on a live stream? Get over it. The fuck are you talking about now? You're spouting off bullshit. No last warnings. Get rid of it. Bye. He's just trying to insult people in the chat, and I won't have you. They can insult me all they want because I don't give a damn, but not in the chat. So gone forever. What kind of BS you're spouting off about? Anyway, I didn't even get to read the whole thing. It's like one of those situations where you know that the words coming out from that particular individual started off as bullshit, will be bullshit about halfway through, and at the end will be complete bullshit. So you just don't even listen, really, half of it. You don't even read it. Pakistan? They don't have nukes. They might have shoddy microwaves, but they don't have nukes. The best they're gonna get is a vial of tritium and a scud carcass. I'm watching the chat because it's funny. You guys are like, Rip, Ziggle Morales. Rip a cig on the stream. Oh my goodness. If they have nukes, they have nukes. Nobody's going to use them. If one person uses them, then everybody else is going to use them, and guess what's going to happen? Everyone's going to end up getting destroyed from it. They're going to get turned into glass or a statue of ash. I mean, that's a no-win situation. Yeah, they're delivery systems in Russia. No one. I'll take care of DHL. Good lord, I can't do it while I'm on stream. Um, basically, yeah, Pakistan nuclear capability delivery system is Russian. Well, that means they didn't make it themselves. You're all making it sound like Pakistan can do this. They can't even fly helicopters. I'm telling you, they don't. I don't know what they're doing over there. Not to insult you personally, but I mean, I was in the war. Okay, I was over there, and I saw some. Okay, maybe it wasn't your people. I don't know. You know, they came from everywhere. It was like trapdoor spiders coming out of the sand. It was like crazy. Easy to shoot though. I have no knowledge. That's kind of a tall statement. How do you figure? It doesn't matter if you have nukes or not. It doesn't. You're not going to use them. You send one in the air, and you're going to be obliterated. Real simple. Obliterated. Just like Japan, just like Hiroshima, Nagasaki. And those were just hydrogen bombs. We're a little bit more advanced now. No, Pakistan has nukes from another country. They didn't make shit. It's like watching the Taliban try to fly a Black Hawk. You know? It's more comedy than anything. Not worried about it. Pakistan doesn't concern me at all. We're well outfitted to take care of our own country. Oh, zero knowledge, huh? What knowledge do you have of my country? And its nuclear capabilities? Go ahead. So you say Pakistan has nukes? Hooray! It doesn't stand a chance against the United States. You guys that have sunrise at 3 a.m. If you ever freaking stepped a toe out of line. Bottom line, squash you like a bug. And then all he has to say is, you have zero knowledge. 170, that's it? Shit, I got more than that in my garage. Kevin. That's funny. Does Willard live in now? You're funny, Kevin. I think we'll keep you around. A person who doesn't know Pakistan has nukes or not in 2025 is the big. You said Pakistan had nukes. To me, I was insinuating that they made them, and they can't make shit. So, since they're Russian, Pakistan may have possession of them, but I sincerely doubt they'd be able to use them. And I guarantee you, there's going to be a Russian liaison there to help you guys figure out how to use them. That's if you're stupid enough to try and put one in the air. Because then your entire country would be a freaking glass plate. Glory. That's true. That's true. I can hear it now. I can hear it now. You guys would be launching those nukes at each other because someone's goat cheated on them. I'm sure our reconnaissance already knows all that. I'm not. What are you talking about? A nut job for America. So you say this stuff because you're behind a screen, but you wouldn't say it to my face because you're a coward. I mean, come over here. Say it to my face. Mutual combat, me and you. Yeah, what a joke. That's right. You looking in a mirror? Say it. Go ahead, come on over. Come on over to Cali. Meet up. I'll send you back home. No, see, there's a difference there. You say you're not scared of shit. Ha 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 ha. I thought it was more stupidity because every time I fired rounds across the dunes and you guys stood up, I thought you were just checking to see if the popcorn was done, and then pink mist. Born to steal or born steel? You are funny though. I'll give you that update. You really are. The fact that you think that you have any power whatsoever over the United States or could win in any kind of war or confrontation against me personally is so amusing. It's been worth the conversation. Yeah, you did make them for decoration. You did. You couldn't grow your own set of balls, so you had to import them from Russia. Now you're swaying them around thinking you're a badass. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. You're nothing. You must think our nukes are for decoration then too. Oh my gosh. Ignorance is without borders, isn't it? Dash. Funny. Well, that's because we have the best doctors in the world here. Look at him, ha 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 ha, with the sweaty thing on the face. That's the nervous laughter right before the pink mist. I'm waiting for you to come up with something else because you're not going to get to me. It is wildly entertaining though, so please keep it up. What about India and Pakistan and other countries? I don't have to pay for medical. I'm a veteran. You haven't quite figured that one out yet, have you? Yeah, we did set up a lot of nukes in Nevada. Glory. There are no virgin goats in Pakistan. My rank is none of your business. My security clearance is none of your business. Most of my military service is nobody's business. And if you tried to find it, you wouldn't find anything except classified. So, green shirt, baby, green shirt. I can neither confirm nor deny that information, whether I'm retired completely. I'm going to give you one hint. Can you see the insignia on that? Or is it too close? Not close enough? Oh, it's not going to focus. Oh, there it goes. Hold on. You're good, focus. Well, I guess you can't see that unit insignia on there. I'm glad you don't care. Now you're just making irrelevant points. Of course you're not aware what the insignia is. That's the beauty of it. Duty to God and nation. I like that. Hey, Madman Machine TV. You're my kind of people. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. We didn't go in coming back thinking, we're going to get benefits and stuff like that. There's not one soldier that signed up going, oh, good, when I'm done here, I get benefits. No, we went over to do a job. And you don't know about the U.S. Army. Yet you'll boast about your nukes. That's only something a fool would do, is to walk into a room full of armed individuals with an air rifle and say, look what I borrowed from Russia. That's who you are. So keep talking. Don't bother me a bit. I can neither confirm nor deny that information. Yeah, it's from Russia. You guys don't know how to build shit. Trust me. I've seen your helicopters. Same reason why housing in South Africa are still grass huts. Pretty much goes without saying. I can neither confirm nor deny that information. Especially to somebody on foreign soil. Yeah. Yeah, man. I hear you. That's what God called me. As a matter of fact, it was right after the attacks on 9/11 when I went in. And I can tell you it was rough. But I'm sure the enemy will get over it. I didn't go over there to make peace. Well, then why are you talking about it, man? If you don't give a shit, why are you even commenting? You got like an attention problem? Mommy didn't hold you enough? Or not enough? Or maybe your goat left you? I have no idea. We'll defend Israel no matter what people say. It's a command that we follow. So I don't care if you don't like it or not. And the fact that I'm even wasting breath on you at this point is an irony. I think his goat left him. I think that's what it is. Oh, he says I have no common sense. Okay. How did you come to that conclusion? Please give me the steps involved in you coming to the conclusion that I don't have any common sense. I'll bet you can't. You know what? It doesn't matter though, does it? Even if you think it was a false flag event, we still filled the sand with that baking smell of iron from what came out of you motherfuckers. So might want to find some homes for those orphans. Look at him still doing the laughy faces, that nervous laughter. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to sling out some kind of insult that makes no sense. I don't know if he's old enough for goats. He might be. I swear, this would be one of the protest. This is the reason why that their culture wants everybody to vote left. Because I heard people, a Muslim even said they want people to vote left. They would be scared of Republicans because they have principle. Well, leftists, they don't. They don't have principles. It's about fulfilling self-desire at the cost of whomever it is, without any regard for humanity. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all that he's acting like this. He's still on the medical thing. Wow. Well, aren't you glad you're in Pakistan? You get free medical for you and your goat bride. I'm telling you, I'm sorry to say this because you're another human being, and I wish you would actually find the true salvation of the world. But you're an idiot, dude. You really are. You're an ignorant fool who has absolutely no knowledge or common sense. You have baseless talking points that you throw out, all for a response from either me or people in the chat. You're an attention-seeking whore. That's what you are. What is it? That doesn't even make sense. I'm retired, so I won't think as a communist. What does that even mean? Can you type out the English language instead of chewing it up and spitting it out on a keyboard? I don't give a shit what you can. We're, you know what happens when we stop watching Israel's back? We get dragged into a war because you guys think, oh, the Americans aren't protecting them anymore. We can go ahead and do whatever we want to Israel now. And then we have to decimate you. And then somebody else on the other side of the pond gets pissed off because we turned you guys into a bunch of shadows on the wall. And then we gotta go fuck them up too. That's why we protect Israel. You know what? If they didn't like it and they were so against it, why haven't they tried to stop it? Russia's not doing anything to us for supplying weapons to Ukraine. They're not happy about it, but they wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare try anything stupid because we have so many nuclear submarines sitting in the ocean on their front, right off their front porches. It'd be over in a matter of minutes. Same goes for Pakistan. Now, we're not going to stop aiding Israel. Israel has made a lot of mistakes in the past. And what they do is they do try to push what they can do because they know America's backing them up. Israel itself is what we protect. If their leaders make a mistake and need to be removed, then they'll be removed. But as long as Iran poses a threat to Israel, we will always intervene. And bombing their nuclear facilities was only the first step. If they continue, it's the FAFO, man. That's all there is to it. See, he's like throwing out insults. He's not contradicting anything I'm saying. He's not coming back with any evidence to the contrary. He's just very simply, you're senseless. All right, Kermit, hit the road then. If you don't like it. William, I don't know why boomer subs are wild. It sounds like something we used to watch back in the 80s. Vietnam. Oh my gosh. They're not scared of Iran. They're not. They're not. I watched. Do you know how many of their missiles actually made it through? I think it was less than 10%, if that. Trident missiles are cool. Those are fun. We're past that though. We're definitely past that. We found Waldo again. Everyone say hi to Waldo. We found Waldo. I don't think a lot of people would get that joke, except, maybe people my age. YouTube community guidelines. Shut up. Nice try, though. Stupid motherfuckers. Oh no, YouTube community guidelines. B9J. You stupid ass. No children around. So there you go. Hold on one second. I had my network issue. My fault though. Oh, there it goes. Back on. Now we do get some sketchy internet around here, I'll tell you that much. Well, updates. I swear, this guy's got some personal issues. I'm telling you. Did somebody steal your goat? Or did you have to trade it for those nukes? You have to trade your goats for the nukes? Really? Well, you might as well use it as an ashtray then, because she's in an urn. Have fun. Your mom probably got friggin' Sharia lawed to death just because you're in a country that's ridiculously retarded on its, laws about humanity. Armin Asama? Hello, how are you doing? Welcome. Gaza live streams that look like they were using non-kinetic weapons to take out incoming missiles. Yeah, that's possible. I'm good. Armin, how are you? Welcome to the chat. So we've got update here. He's trying to guess my rank and who it is I actually work for. He thinks he knows how it works in the United States. It's kind of an amalgamation of a couple pipes, actually, because, some of them wear out. But it's good for the tobacco. I like it. Yeah, tobacco. It is tobacco. People want to take my channel down or something, or my live down because I'm smoking tobacco. Yet, do you know if I called somebody, that I think it's that fascist name that they call everybody. You don't want to say it on the internet because then YouTube will flag it. But Robert De Niro can say it on TV. I think it's the same separation. Like if a celebrity's on YouTube, they could be smoking a cigarette or having a drink or whatever. Nobody says anything to them because, they wouldn't want to piss off a celebrity. But if I do it, they would throw a fit. It's just bias. It's the same reason why some people, like Update, will watch the same videos they've seen on YouTube before, but they'll watch it again because some girl is reacting to it in a tight shirt. Or maybe some goat in a tight shirt. The point is, the bias is incredible on this platform. You see, I'll show you. Stacy's not going to Pakistan. Update. Sorry to disappoint you. Dude, you've been talking about me ever since you got here. It's a freaking chat. That's what it's for. Do you need to go back to school? I mean, you're still talking about me. You keep chatting. I'm answering your questions or giving you a witty retort when you spout off some nonsensical bullshit. I'm not angry. Do I look angry to you? It's people like this sitting in a basement of their mom's house, or maybe the collapsed building that you live in, that like to try and they think they get somebody's goat by the laughter you see after every time they say something. And look, he's even still saying, "Dude's nerve got hit." That it's just funny. It's just Armin, are you asking me? I'm from California. Unfortunately, from California. I mean, this would be a really good state. You know, it's almost red if we could just, maybe, like I've said before, just instead of strip mining in certain places, let's strip mine along the fault line and just let the blue sink into the blue, like I've said before. Update, nobody cares. This one here? This is actually the SpeedyBee F405 wing. I have a mini, but I put it on the other drone. This is what I was talking about, was tariffs. Is like these used to be like 35, 40 bucks, and now they're closer to 100. So if you're interested in seeing, let me go ahead and put myself here. I printed this last night to put in the front of it because I thought it'd be cool. But I may or may not do that. I may light it up and just wear it for Halloween. So yesterday I was putting this thing together, and it's not put together yet completely because I still have to print them out for the SpeedyBee Mini. But everything is running off of these this APD power distribution board, which is another thing I have to buy with my LLC because they stopped selling to the hobbyist market. And I have an Arduino that's running light rails on the inside. These will house 70 millimeter 2100 kV motors. You've seen this one before. If you haven't, you can go back and check out the Shrike Concept Drone playlist where I built the first one, and it's the Shrike V10 Maiden, and that is what this is. So I went ahead and reprinted this one in clear because I wanted to do it again. And I changed the standard capacitors that they had on here because they had sent the 50 volt 1000 microfarad capacitors, but I used YXF capacitors because it helps with the ESR value and any ripple that you get from the power supply. So it kind of smooths all that out, and it actually makes sure that these ESCs perform better than they did with the stock capacitor that came with it. And that was the whole point, because we want smooth power going from the power distribution board through the ESC. We don't want any ripples, anything like that. Common ground for everything. And that'll make those engines run much, much smoother. But if you check out that V10 Maiden, you'll see how well it flew. Even in angle mode, when I was limiting the RPMs of the motors to do testing, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That was a very successful flight, a successful build of an EDF drone. And it actually carries this battery right here, a 6,000 milliamp LiPo battery. Now I know you think that drone's cool, and when you watch the video, you'll see. One second. So I have a bigger drone. It's a little bit bigger than that one. Not much though. Just a little bit. It's just a little bit bigger than this drone. Is everybody ready for this one? Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can get a good picture of it here. Oh, I gotta mess with that light strip. Yeah. Oh God. 472 pounds of lift top speed of about 530 miles per hour. So, and I completely 3D printed that thing on one 3D printer with one nozzle. That's 28 kilograms of PETG. 70 motors. Yes, I'm sure you could make a website for me. But yeah, basically this one's going to be, this one, I'll give you an idea of how big it is. I'm 6'4" and 290 pounds. Not sure why the weight mattered, but there you go. Now that's a drone. 70, flip sky motors. This is why we were talking about the tariffs, about the ESCs, because the tariffs are what's costing me a lot more to build this thing. They'll be running on an 18S system. It is an 11 blade high pass configuration, 12,000 RPMs per motor, 3 10,000 milliamp Z batteries for now until the hydrogen system is finished. Then it'll run on hydrogen, and fuel tanks can run for a couple hours on those as opposed to a few minutes on lithium polymers. It can carry a payload heavy enough to make it to Pakistan. So while this is built for basically SAROPs, we're talking about search and rescue drones, things like that, there are several military applications, like delivering kinetic devices, things like that. But we're going to wait for the people in the military to come on over and say, hey, we're ready for our first one. They want to see the prototype first, though. So, as you can see, that's my small drone that I'm building. The other one that I showed you just now was the tiny one that I'm building. That's the medium-sized one. The larger one that I'm building of that is has a little bit more proprietary technology that I've designed for it, so it's not on YouTube yet. Armin, I don't understand the question. Can I react one song? Please elaborate. I'll look it up. I'm not just a drone manufacturer, but it is one of my primary businesses here on YouTube. So that's what I do for fun for everyone. I like to encourage the drone enthusiast community with more ideas, better ideas. Why spend $5,000 on a motor that can push half of what that motor can push when I can 3D print it? And it's actually been tested. Most of my videos from the past, actually, you can see where I've been doing testing at 48 volts. It will run at 75. So basically, the idea is that this particular drone, I do want to alloy the drive system eventually. Most of it can be carbon fiber or 3D printed, but for the most part, the stator hub, the main shaft, and the blades in the blade hub, I would love to actually have machined. So I'm going to be working with a company on that one. And we're going to get it to where, because I know my limits on PETG. At 12,000 RPMs, we're already pushing the tensile strength limits of the blades. They can handle some weight of the weight of the drone. It's about 70 pounds or so. And then you consider that you have to, you want lift and maneuverability, which it can handle. What I want to do is alloy the blade system so that I can get the full 400 pounds of lift that those blades will generate at 12,000 RPMs. Who says I'm paying rent? I can't listen right now because I'm using both my devices to do the live. But I'll check it out later. Besides, there might be copyright issues if I try and listen to it now. Oh, you have a genuine question. So you're trying to tell me the rest were bullshit? He does not have a genuine question. Thank you, moderator. I love you, dear. But yeah, basically that's what we're doing is building this drone, and then of course talking about how the tariffs are affecting it. It's quite interesting how the tariffs have affected me getting these. I've seen the prices go up for these things. I'm going, well, I mean, we can build the same thing. And Japan's building what, semiconductor factories here in the United States. So we can just start building all of our own stuff. And then, you know, all those other companies like DJI and stuff like that, you know, that we've banned because of who they're made by, you know, we don't have to worry about them anymore. Port Bear. Oh, man. I get some odd questions in these lives, I'm telling you. Now people are asking me to say things. See, I didn't answer the question because I knew it was a setup already. He basically said the joke, then the punchline, without me ever answering anything. Yeah, an open prop drone. A lot of those agricultural drones can lift weight, but they're open prop. They're not EDF systems. Now that's the point on this one. This is I mean, it'll lift 400 pounds. You know, outside of its own weight. It's got a 70, I think about a 72 pound up weight right now, which will be lower in future versions, but still have the same power. So if this kind of stuff interests you, then subscribe, of course. You can become a member if you wish. You're not obligated to. Well, I started with industrial engineering, and now I've moved to aerospace and strategic intelligence, things like that. Car colors, hey, it has been a while. I've been doing good. How are you doing? Hope you're doing all right. Oh yeah, Glory, go for it. It's all anything you say is usually shocking or hilarious or cool. Let's hear it. Yeah, I remember you, Jackson. I remember from the picture. Those shocking stories were good. Everyone pay attention to chat. This is gonna be fun. Go for it. I'm all eyes. Yeah, let's hear this. Let's see this. Roll film. Go for it. Oh, really? Dang. And this is like all just coming out now? Holy crap, man. That's horrible. Wow. Oh, yeah, he needs to be locked away somewhere deep in a dungeon somewhere. That's horrible. I'm sorry that happened. Drop it and forgive him? Hell no. You don't abide evil, you destroy it. Wow.
Did you see Armand's question? He's asking your advice.
Oh, hold on a second, Armand. You're doing electrical engineering, so now I want saying I also have internet and Arduino, so which engineering I should do and which is good for future in US job. I would do I would say electronics engineering PCB design. Um I would look for a field where that teaches you PCB design specifically in CAD and how to go through the manufacturing processes from your CAD design to whatever your finished product is. But yeah, definitely if you're doing PCB design, that's going to start picking up here more than anything because of the tariffs and because of the fact that we're going to be cutting off a lot of technology from China. So I would do electronic PCB design, semiconductors, that kind of thing. And if you want to make it um, field specific, whether it be automobiles, aircraft, drones, or anything like that, then it pretty much covers the whole gambit of those. So, because everybody, we all need PCBs, we need different types of power supplies, we need more efficient power supplies and PCBs that can do the job that they're supposed to do more efficiently with better materials and not cut corners. And since if you're doing it, if you're in the United States, and we plan on outdoing the quality of the competition, then you're going to be dealing with a lot of some of the best technology to work with. So I would do electronics, PCB design, microcontrollers, pretty much anything in that realm. Arduino is great for prototyping, but what I mean by that is you want to be able to use Arduino to create the circuit and then take the circuit diagram and create that PCB. And I would use Fusion 360 because they have a good PCB designer in there. You can get an educational version of it for free if you're in school, and use Fusion 360, learn its PCB design software part, and then basically take your Arduino specs, because basically your Arduino is just a microcontroller that routes the signals that it's getting. It has an onboard ATI Mega, I believe, 238. I can't remember, 328, 238, something like that. Anyway, it's just a processor. And the idea is that the Arduino is great with all the peripherals attached to it to prove the product you're trying to create. But eventually you want to break that down into a single PCB system that includes that processor from the Arduino. And then you don't have to have the Arduino. You can design the PCBs and have them made. So your family hid the news about it? Armin, no problem, man. Anything I can do to help. I mean, anybody who is trying to learn a new skill or wants to learn how to do a new skill, and they want to get a job in the U.S. and they want to be successful at it, I mean, if I can help in any way, I'll give you whatever information I can. There's a lot. There's a lot out there if you're looking for specifically electronics programming. I would go online and just look for electronics engineering schools, specifically, you know, PCB electronics. Not so. It's going to start off with standard electronics classes, and then you're going to have to go through a couple of algebra and some calculus and things like that. Not my fault. You can thank Sir Isaac Newton for that one. He's the one who decided to jam the alphabet into math. So you have to look up the colleges. There's so many different ones you can choose from. It's going to depend on a specific type of electronics that you're wanting to build as the end product. Even if you're using Arduino, you're going to want those skills about different types of chipsets and MOSFETs and resistors, and capacitors, and PCB board layouts. So I would look for something in that field and see what colleges are available. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which ones. STM, yeah, definitely STM, ST micros. That's one of the situations like we have to deal with here. Is some of the older controllers like this one here, which is this BDB F405 wing. What we have to end up doing in order to make it work on a Windows operating system is we have to make sure our STM32 drivers are installed, and then we have to go back and we have to find the CH340, I think it is, or the CH4320 for the Arduino. It's specific drivers. Basically, instead of having some kind of software package that goes, I know how to deal with all of these, we have to go and install, like, hey, if I'm using iNav to program my flight controller, I've got to install the STM32 drivers for that. I have to install the CH340s for the Arduino, so on and so forth. And that's just to be able to read the hardware that's getting plugged in, because of that the USB port doesn't know one way or the other. So I think it would be different. I think it'd be really cool to have something that we could plug up USB that already carries all the drivers and hardware necessary for the logic in the computer to understand what it is looking at and why. So some external peripheral for flight controllers and Arduinos that's already preloaded with all the drivers and hardware that's needed to read it. And then that could be something you could plug into the computer, and you'd have sort of a hub to be able to work on anything with any kind of plug, whether it be a USB-C or anything other than that. Like these USB-Cs or these pin plug controllers, things like that when you're working with PCB boards and different things like that. Easy Masters in electronic communication. Now he's doing a job in Apple and making iPhone chips. Oh, okay. I see. Despite making a whole childhood, biological father was defending Tony. Why is everyone defending Tony? He's the only one that's not a victim in all of this. He's an offender, if anything. Dang. That's insane, man. Well, I mean, if there's an investigation going on already, you already know, something's going to happen to him. And people don't like people who do stuff like that in prison. They don't. So if he goes to prison for that, it ain't going to be for very long. I'm going to do a minimum of 15 years in federal prison if I go to sleep right now, never wake up. No one ever adds another change to it. Or another charge to it. So he's already destined for prison. Armin, to be honest with you, choose specifically what you want to do with your electronics career. And then look online and see what colleges offer things that would be required by an employer for what you want to do. And then, I'm sure you can get funding for it here in order to go to college here and do it. I don't know how the funding works from where you're at as far as education goes, but I can say that here they encourage it, and we, our federal student loans are pretty good, and grants for getting a new education or bettering your education and contributing to, the workforce. So you would just have to do your research based solely on what your end goal is. I love how the viewers drop off when I don't show the drone. So it's kind of funny. It is. When I do live, sometimes I'll get a lot of people on. Sometimes it's just a few people, and it's just amazing how it changes. Like if I'm doing a live and I'm talking about the drone, and I pan over and I show the main project that I'm working on, then people are interested in something like that. That's the kind of thing that they want. It's in my bio, Armand. My Instagram link is in my bio on my channel page. So that's the big girl we're putting together right there. social media account sent because my family felt the need to hide all this. Damn, Gloria, that's a messed up situation. Yeah, William, it is a big drone. And that's only half the size of the one that I'm going to be building. The bigger one. This one will fly. This one's going to fly. I'm waiting on, this was what I was talking about earlier, was the tariffs that I have to pay in order to get the first two ESCs for the first two motors that I have installed. And then I've got the other two motors coming in. That'll go down there, another two ESCs. I did install these heat sinks at the top of the outrunner so the fan could cool down the top of the outrunner. I basically just CNC'd these on the MP CNC that I built over there. But man, I want a 4 or 5 axis CNC so I can really get into this. Making some of my, because I want to alloy these blades. You know, you got 11 blade high pass. I want to alloy those blades. This is going to be a fun one to finish. And it's really going to be about waiting on parts. Realistically, it's all going to be about waiting on parts. And paying the tariffs to get them here and then wait. And this is one of the reasons why you want to find something stateside. You really want to find something stateside where you can get those supplies. Just because it makes more sense that way. Well, I'm glad we could help you out, Armand. Wish you the best of luck in your adventures. Stay in contact. I want to see some of the stuff you make. So, how many viewers we got current? 5. Because I don't have a cleavage, isn't it? Nope, sorry. Oh, this chair though. At least it's more comfortable than the last one. Oh. So, guys got anything else you want to jabber about? For me, it was the tariffs. It was like, I gotta pay the tariffs. Then I not only had to buy the product, pay for the shipping, now I gotta pay for the tariffs when it's already stateside. You do what you gotta do, right? You have to continue to move forward. No matter what hurdles get in your way, don't give up. When something gets in your way and says, I'm not going to let you finish, that's when you walk right over them. So, don't ever be discouraged. A lot of people tell me, you know, because I've had experiments that either I failed on purpose because I was testing it, or they failed because of some other reason. And I don't consider them failures. I consider them education. I consider them me learning a way not to make something. So that's the whole point, right? And that's the whole point of this channel. This is to have fun, talk with individuals. Hopefully we don't have to deal with too many trolls, but that's fine too because they're fun. I collect them. And I just want to inspire people to build new and different things. Now, there's a lot of people out there who want to build FPV drones and they just want to have the goggles and they just want to fly fast through the trees and stuff like that. And there's only so long you can do that before it just becomes old. I mean, yeah, it's fun to do occasionally, but if you're doing it all the time, for me, I couldn't just fly around looking through goggles all the time and flying through trees. It just eventually you got to do something different, something bigger, something that hasn't been done. And then that drone was printed on one printer with one nozzle, the Bamboo Lab X1 carbon with the hardened steel nozzle. 28 kilograms of filament went through that nozzle, and I printed that monster over there on one printer. So each one of the body parts, each quarter panel on the body parts was 4 plates each. Each one of the ductworks around the fans was 6 plates each. The blade and the hub and the main drive shaft was all about 6 plates. The stator that holds the bearing in the main shaft was, I think, also 6 plates. So a lot of plates, a lot of printing plates. Yeah, they're not failures. They're basically ways I learned not to do it. And that's the key. When you're building something that size, you got to remember, there's a lot of people out there that are like, this isn't going to fly. Is that just a prototype? Is that a flying product? Is it going to fly? Well, yeah, of course it's going to fly. That's the whole point. The entire point behind this is for this prototype to fly. We have our battery bay. We have our control deck up here. We have, these are skateboard motors. These are e-skateboard motors, but they give me the right RPMs when they're paired up with the right ESC to give me the 12,000 RPMs I need for this, because the blade geometry I have is a higher RPM blade geometry for lift. It'll sustain a hover at about half throttle. You still have a lot of overhead, and it can lift a whole lot of weight. Now, like I said before, these sections, and I don't know if you can see them because of the lighting, I'm not entirely certain, but we can get closer if you want. So why don't we get a little bit closer for a second? Let's do that. I'll have to unplug the phone. Okay. So, as you can see, each of the blades and are a very aggressive pitch. And if you look at the engine, this is a 7070 Flip Sky motor made for a skateboard. This heat sink is sitting at the top of the outrunner because of the load that's produced by this blade. That gives me a little bit of heat. So, but admittedly, I was doing the testing at 48 volts, and to be honest with you, when you're testing a system at 48 volts that's designed and the engine's 75, you actually produce more heat in the engine with lower voltage. So you have to take that into consideration. Sorry, the allergies around here are killing me. Living in an orchard. So these shorty blades right here are designed to also help push air past these fins. That super cools this top of the outrunner and soaks up some of that heat and then pushes it out. Eventually, I'll have Peltier circuits on each one of these fins. That will super cool this. They're 12 volt Peltier circuits. It'll drop the temperature of the aluminum down to a refrigerated temp. Then there'll be another heat sink on the top here where the fan cools the hot side off, and then you go from there. So and we got this one here, which obviously goes that way, and I still have to get the motor mounts and motors attached to these down here. But I use tapered roller bearings because once it starts pulling forward, these tapered roller bearings, which usually are for cars, actually helps to straighten and keep that fan level while it's flying. So that's what we've got so far. And of course, each one of these engines has 288 lights in it, LEDs. They're embedded onto the fan. They're actually inside the fan casing behind the ductwork. And I've got 2 sets. So the idea is I want to light this thing up while it's flying. There will be lights in the body as well. So we don't want to forget that. But it is Butte. And I can change the lighting sequence anytime I want to, but I kind of like this one. I like the blue through the PETG. It's really, really pretty. We're definitely going to get a UFO sighting, that's for sure. So I think that's going to be the cool part. And considering this drone is 5 feet by 5 feet, and these fans are so big, we're going to get the people around me are going to think a 747's taking off from my backyard. Especially when I do that hover test. So that's going to be fun. And then we go back to this one. This is kind of where it all started. We were using 70 millimeter EDFs to make this drone. And I already made it once. Like I said, the V10 Maiden is on the playlist, the Power Concept drone playlist. You can see this thing flying. And it's the Shrike V10. So I reprinted it in clear. I added, of course, some Arduino light rails in there. And pulled my 12 volts for that, for the Arduino off of the APD board. The APD board bypasses the SpeedyBee's actual power distribution board. And I use 12 volts from the APD to power that. And then I have telemetry coming from the PDB to the SpeedyBee on UART4, which gives me battery telemetry through and ESC telemetry directly through the SpeedyBee. So I'm not even using the SpeedyBee's ESC that's on here. I'm just using it to power the board itself. And all the power is actually handled for the EDFs from that APD 500X. So that's the key behind that. Because I've seen people build EDF drones after I did this, and they keep blowing capacitors because they're using standard drone quad stacks. And you can't do that, because especially if they're running 4S. They're running 4S, I'm running 6S. Because the kilovolt rating on 4S is way too high. You get too high of an amp draw, so it's going to pop the cap on the back of that flight controller. That's what happens. So in order to avoid that, I basically piggybacked a different power distribution board on there that could handle the 500 amps. It gave me 500 amps. I only needed like 340. And then I didn't have to worry about the caps. Now, obviously, the caps on the flight controller and the caps on the ESCs are necessary, but that's just to smooth out power and all that other stuff. And I have my GPS module here for it. So once these motors come in, and luckily those are Amazon, so I don't have to worry too much about how much it's going to cost to get those here. Then we're going to put this one together, and we're going to fly it here. First, we're going to fly it in here in the shop, and then we'll take it out to the field at dusk, because I want to see how the lighting works. And we're going to rip around with this for a while. So we'll be getting those motors pretty soon. But, you know what? Let me plug in the power here, so that I don't want to lose you guys, you know, the faithful few. All right. So, yeah, that's the big project. And it's a fun one. Oh, I'm telling you, living in the middle of orchards, my sinuses are like, they go crazy. You know? Armin, that sounds good, man. Just send me a message there. We'll talk there. Sounds good to me. Berkeley released a video about 15 or 20 years ago called Slaughterbots. It's a cautionary tale about the future of drone warfare. It's really interesting and well done. I'll have to check that one out. 15 or 20 years ago? Man. That reminds me of the the Blade 350. You know, like remember the first Blade, Blade QX or something like that? It was a 350 Q. I remember I had that. It was the first drone I had, and it was a pre-built drone. It was a fun little drone, but I lost it at one point. I attached my phone to it because it didn't have FPV. This is like before FPV was a thing. Got you, R1. I'll get it after we're done here with the live. But what was interesting is, if anyone remembers the Blade 350 QX, this was a drone that did not have FPV. I don't even know if it had GPS. I think it had GPS, but it was an independent GPS that you didn't have any control over. It was just for position hold. So what I did, because it didn't have a camera on it, you have a good day too, Armand. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. So on this drone, I put my camera on it, and I went up really high in the air with this drone, and I lost signal, right, to the transmitter. And it's supposed to come back and land. It was one of the first return to home kind of things that we were dealing with, but it didn't. It got caught by a draft way up there, and it got dragged, I think, a couple miles from where I was. And when it attempted to land, it landed in a bush inside of an apartment complex. And then it was doing its beep, you know, to signify that it was there. The only way that I found it, because at the time we didn't have a way to track the drones, the only way I found it was going into Google and tracking where my phone was on the computer. And then I located where the drone was and went straight there. This is 10, 15 years ago. And so I was lucky. You know, I found the drone because I was able to track my phone's GPS positioning. And then I went and I found it in that parking lot. And I'm like, we're looking around for it, and I'm hearing the beep. And I go, I hear the beep, hear the beep. And it's just sitting inside of a bush. Nobody touched it. My phone's still attached to it and everything. I was like, man, that was lucky. It was too funny, and I still have the video on my old channel, which I can't get back into the old channel that I have on YouTube because I opened it when I had a Yahoo account, a Yahoo Gmail or a Yahoo email, and Google can't reconcile the fact that it's actually me, even though I've proven All right, is it back yet? Oh yeah, there it goes. I can hear myself yelling on the computer. There we go. Yeah, sometimes I do that. I do that. Sometimes I'll get a call or a text or something like that, and it kills the audio or disrupts the feed. Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I got it fixed. What's interesting, I've noticed, because my subscriber for my phone, yeah, this is the SpeedyBee F405 wing, yes, APP, and I have a SpeedyBee F405 mini on this drone here, which will house 70mm EDFs. And then I'm going to run a Maytech for this one. That's my big drone. Well, it's my medium-sized drone. So I'll give you an idea how big this one is. It's sort of hard to understand the size of this thing unless I'm standing in front of it. Got some power. Well, yeah, I mean, the SpeedyBee F405 is actually outfitted. Well, the Mini, at least, will work with Betaflight. It'll work with, I think it'll work with Ardu Pilot, but I think Ardu Pilot is better suited for the Maytech flight controller, in my experience. But the F405 will work with iNav and Betaflight. I believe you can use Ardu Pilot with it. It just depends on how you flash it. When you're flashing the firmware on it, just bring up Ardu Pilot, flash the firmware, just like you would in iNav or Betaflight, and then just put Ardu Pilot on it. I think pretty much most flight controllers can take all three. You know, iNav, Betaflight, or Ardu Pilot. I thought about using Ardu Pilot because I like the mission control and all that other stuff. But in iNav, you still have the same thing. You still got the same flight controls. You still have the same automation as well. You're trying to make an amphibious vehicle with a pickpocket? That'd be cool. What is there, a freaking clown outside? So, anyway. Well, I would love to see a Pixar. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at that horn. Hey, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love the shirts too. I mean, I've got other ones too. I think one of my favorites is if ginger confuses you, go milk a bull. And then one is everyone's entitled to my opinion. And then I think one says straight white Republican male, how else may I piss you off today? And that shirt's got me a lot of attention. Because I'll go to a store or something like that, and somebody will be like, why are you wearing such an offensive shirt like that? I'm like, how is it offensive? You get pissed off if you're misgendered. I'm just wearing what I am on my shirt, so there's no confusion. You should be as courteous as to do the same, but you don't. You run up on us with rainbow hair and a septum ring and then yell at us for no damn reason. You know, tell us it's white males that are destroying the country. And then I think it was during the election, it was white females that were destroying the election. And all because we didn't get Shrek and Donkey into the office. I mean, thank God that didn't happen. Lots of detention ponds are doing bathymetric work, and it has a lot of weeds and debris. Oh, okay, I see. So the props get clogged all the time. There would be. I think there's a way around that. Ah, you got my engineering brain going. The motors are obviously, how many blades are the props? Are you staying primarily on the surface? Or is it going submersible? So 3-blade props like a boat. Standard. So you're only doing surface. I see what you mean. And you're trying to figure out a way to not clog up the motors. Gotcha. Instead of pulling water in, you want to be able to tread it. Here's an easy way. Print TPU paddle wheels. That way you can go on the ground and on the water. So make a tire tread and then do it in Fusion 360. I don't know if you have CAD experience or not. This might be something I might try to design for fun. Make it like a street tire, but add those TPU flexible paddle wheels to it so that you would make the internal wheel stiffer. Replace the blade with that. That would give it buoyancy on the water, and then the paddles would tread. And since they're flexible paddles, if they hit something hard in the water, they'll fold rather than grab it and take it with them. So just from the way I would do it, if you're staying on the surface, would be a buoyant paddle wheel, like a tire with paddles. But thin enough paddles to where if you do hit any of that brush, you're gonna brush right over it. It's not gonna grab it and spin it up in the prop or the wheel. It's just gonna knock it out of the way, or the paddle's gonna bend and avoid it altogether. Yeah, that's what we gotta do, man. You like said that, and I was like, oh, engineering mode. But yeah, I would try that. I would try a sealed TPU tire style prop. That'll give you buoyancy, and then add the paddles to it. On the edges of the tread, stuff like that. And they don't have to be very long paddles. They can be fairly short. And then if you widen the stance a little bit, make the wheel a little bit wider, then you'll be able to maintain your balance on the surface without it worrying about it tipping. So yeah, that could work out. That could work out. See, my mind's going right now. I'm like picturing it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yes, my dear. I would love a sandwich. Sure, everybody on here wants to watch me eat. Well, the 3 people that are here. Yeah, 6-wheel drive with a wide base. What's the weight of the thing overall? Like without these tires, obviously. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, I mean, that's, yeah, six tires with the right buoyancy. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. It brings me back to seeing those trucks, those big off road mud trucks treading water because they have so much buoyancy in the tires. That's where your answer is right there. Except you add paddles because you know, you want some steerability. Okay. Well, 18 pounds, it seems like a lot in a small unit, but if you're already floating and it's not a big deal, you're just going to get more buoyancy out of the tires and more stability. And if you do the paddle tires, I think you'd be good. Um, and that'll give you an opportunity to not have to worry about getting stuck. It's worth a test. That's what it's all about, right? You make it, you test it, you see how it works. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd love to see it. I would really love to see that. So you can like hit me up on my channel page. My email is there. When you're done with it, I'd love to see that thing in action after you're done with it. That would be fun. Yeah, you'd have to make a new hull for sure. Are you 3D printing the hull? Or are you just because here's another thing you could do. If you didn't want to fiberglass the hull or make it out of a foam, um, I don't know if you're using a Bamboo Lab X1 carbon or not, but the AMS for the TPU for the AMS has a shore hardness of I think it's like 90A or 98A, which is a 60D to 70D shore hardness, and that is actually that bonds very well and is very waterproof. You know how TPU is, but the rigidity on the TPU for the AMS is so much higher than your standard TPU. You could just do the entire hull in the AMS TPU, and that would give you your buoyancy and your water sealing and keep everything dry on the inside. Be sure to test it first, though. I would do at least 3 wall thicknesses to make sure that it has, perfect seal. And I would even go so far as to coat it with a sealant, just to be on the safe side. But I think TPU in general has a very good bonding, um, has a good bonding mechanic to it. So it's very waterproof. The H2D. I was wanting to get one of those, but I barely was able to get the X1. So, and I've had it for a while. I've put it through like I said, I put it through tons of projects. But this last one, this big drone, was 28 kilograms of PETG, and I did it through one nozzle, man. Did the whole thing, and it took a couple months to print it, but I got it. So it was a challenge. I had to change some things along the way, but I finally got it printed. And then I put my carbon fiber reinforcements in there, and those are 20 millimeter outer diameter, 16 millimeter inner diameter, so they're pretty rigid. Yeah, I would too. If I had the extra money for that, I definitely would. I was because the H2D, that's the dual head one, right? And then you've got was it the H2S, which is a single head. And then this never made sense to me why they did this. Now a lot of people complained because the dual head system doesn't allow this one head to reach one side of the board or this head to reach the other side of the board. So you don't actually get the full print volume with both heads unless you're using the same material in both nozzles. But the H2S was designed where you could still get that 350 by 350 on one nozzle. which is fine because they made a bigger printer. But why didn't they just take the H2D and make the case literally, what, 15 millimeters bigger on each side? That's it. And then you could have had full coverage of both sides of the build plate with both heads. Instead, they built an entirely new printer. Yeah, it's because of that dual head. It's because they only, instead of widening it up at the top and so it could go back and forth, because it can get to the front and the back of the bed because of the orientation of that y-axis. But on the x-axis, you're cut off by the width of that head on either side. So why they didn't just make it a little bit wider is a mystery to me. I would find, if I was working for them, I would have been like, dude, why don't we just make it a little wider? Then why you're building a whole new printer? Why not just make it a little bit wider so that we can cover the whole plate with both heads? Yeah, not a lot of people are going to be using that much build space, except for me. But I did it on an X1, so I had, what, 250 by I don't know how much on the Z-axis. But I still managed to get that big-ass drone off there. A truck bed liner on the hull. Oh, the spray on stuff. That's a good idea. That's a good. Watch the weight though, because that stuff can get pretty heavy.
Do you want this out here, or do you want me to put it in the fridge?
Put it in the fridge. I'll be in a little bit. Thank you, honey. Yeah, that's. I would do the same thing. Another thing you could try that might be lighter than the bed liner spray is if you go to any auto parts store, they have this this plastic spray. It's for redoing like dimmed dashboards and stuff like that, but it's actually a vinyl spray, and it's much lighter, and you can put it on in a couple of coats, and it's waterproof. So that would be a lot lighter, I think, than the truck bed liner. It might not be as rigid, it might not be as protective, but if you have a TPU hull and you have that plastic spray that goes in cars to repair the plastic, it's just a spray paint is all it is. That'll waterproof it pretty quick, and it'll be much lighter. Yeah, sort of like Plastidip. Lots of rocks and twigs. Well, that's where that AMS TPU is going to come into play, because it's still going to give you that flex and it's not going to puncture it. So if you do it in TPU for the AMS and then you coat it with that to be on the set, you probably don't have to. I don't think it would leak with the TPU, but if you wanted to, you could coat it with that plastic spray for car. You can find any auto parts store. It's to refresh all the vinyl inside the car. You're putting a new coat and painting it for faded vinyl, but it puts it down in layers. It's an actual vinyl. If you could peel it off if you wanted to, and you could see how thick the vinyl is depending on how many layers you put on. Roy Bond. I used to say Robond for some reason. Roy Bond, how you doing, bro? I appreciate you coming into the chat room today. We've been having fun. Not very many viewers because, whatever, but still having fun. Yeah. PETG will work, but if you're looking for, you're going to get good rigidity out of that TPU for the AMS. It's going to be just as strong as the PETG, but it's going to it's gonna have that flexibility. I have a piece of it here. Okay, so this is. Hold on, I gotta see the chats. You're gonna work on wind turbines? Sounds like fun work. You gotta take a video of these things swaying from the inside. I want to see those tubes swaying in the wind. You know? Get up there and get pictures of the tubes. Like, just put your camera straight up. I want to see the ladder and the tube just swaying in the wind. This is AMS TPU right here. And it's really, really rigid. Right? And that's a pretty thick print. I'd say about 5 walls is what I did on this one. And I was using it for testing, but I think it would make a really rigid, very tough hull. You're not gonna. It's still gonna be rigid like you're looking for with the PETG, but you're not breaking it. Try that with PETG and tell me if it would survive it and still be flexible. That's why I think TPU for the AMS is your best bet. Hard to give too much time to anything right now with all the phone calls and stuff going on. But I'm back in while I can. I appreciate you coming back, Lori. I know things are kind of hectic for you right now. You want me to... Okay, Roy Bond. If I break this, he's going to send me $5. Y'all hurry about... Okay. I don't think I can. I might be able to. Oh! Yes. Now, I will say it's probably because I hit it against the table a lot. Let's try the smaller piece. Can I do the smaller piece? All right, Roy. And there you go. That took a lot of strength to break that thing. He actually did it. Oh, God love you, Roy. It won't let me, it's not letting me click on anything. Hold on. There we go. Okay, did I get it? Did I get it clicked? I tried to click it. Thank you for that, Roy. Anything else you want me to break for $5? Yeah, the strength on that stuff is good. If you're not hitting a wall at 40 miles an hour, that's going to be perfect for I think it was Mavericks. Was it Mavericks? Yeah. Yeah, Maverick, I think that TPU is going to be good for you. I think it'll work well. Yeah, I made an actual. I had a P51 Mustang, a little foamy, the 800 millimeter one from FMS, and I kept breaking the props on them when I would land because I was doing it in high grass because it was the field that I was in, and it would dump forward and break the prop. I printed the prop out of the TPU for the AMS. It not only flew the plane, but anytime I nosed in, it would just bend the prop, and it wouldn't break it. So I could just take back off again. I didn't have to worry about breaking props. I just reprinted it with the TPU from the AMS, and it came out so rigid that the whole plane broke apart one time before the prop never did. 5 meters a second? That's fast. I mean, on water, that's fast. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Glory. That was a major cool points. Um, Prop cards like DJI, or no? Are you talking about putting them on, or like you're wanting to get some, or no? I mean, it depends on how you fly it, and which drone you're talking about. I think if you need prop guards, um, you need more practice, or don't fly into trees. If you're just thinking about like not hurting somebody by accidentally slamming into them with an open prop system, then yeah, I'd get them. We get ponds. Oh, okay. Detention ponds, that kind of stuff. Gotcha. Well, to be honest, if you hit a bird, even with a prop guard, um, I think it's over for the prop. The easiest way. Okay, I had a Mavic 2 Pro, or yeah, Mavic Pro 2 or 2 Pro, can't remember. And I was flying down the street, and you know those props, they kind of fold up on you when they're not being used. And there was an old telephone line, like in the olden days when we hung them from the wall, um, going across the street, and my back port motor, my aft port motor, caught it, and it flipped the drone and disabled the gimbal on the Hasbulla camera. So the camera's kind of hanging, but I was still flying. When I let go of the stick, it leveled itself back out. And it's because those folding props, once it hit it, it just folded the prop up and it didn't break it. If you're hitting a bird with a drone, um, I think those folding props are your best bet. You know? Because to be honest, with a lot of open prop systems, you're going to bring a drone down if anything touches the blades. It's just how it happens. And it's not so much about the rigidity of the blade 90% of the time. It's going to be the fact that the flight controller freaks out over the fact that it's lurching and banking in a specific direction because of them. And then there's a motor overload because of what it's hitting. So it doesn't know what to do. So it just bails on itself and drops. Yeah, piloting is definitely key. Yeah. Doesn't matter how good the drone is if you fly it into a wall. Did a jet just go by? That was weird. Um, yeah, I've hit stuff before, but one of the reasons why I designed the large drone for uh, as a ducted fan system was because I wanted it to be used as a multi-role platform, SAROPS, search and rescue operations, fire mitigation, carry a thermal camera, sort of like the Matrice that they have from DJI. It's not going to cost you $40,000 to get one, and it's just that was the point. If you're using something that has, a 3D printed body, or even switching it over to carbon fiber, molding it, that kind of thing, and I can get my hands on a 5-axis or 4-axis CNC, like a desktop version. I was really interested in Penta's 5-axis machine. That was the Pocket NC. And I asked him, I said, hey, you've got one that I can demonstrate on the channel, because I'd like to see if it could do this drive system before I drop $11,000 on a machine. And they said that they were low on resources. And what that means is I don't have enough YouTube subscribers. That's what that means. That's all that means. It has nothing to do with the fact that they had or didn't have the resources. It meant that we don't think you're popular enough to get us more sales. But they are either unaware of the drone that I'm building, or they just don't care. When money drives you more than innovation does, that's the kind of thing that happens. So yeah, they have this thing where I could do a lot of collaborations with people online. I could collab with different companies. And I've had a few companies approach me, which I plan on working with. No one that develops a CNC machine yet. But I appreciate that, Roy. I'm doing my best. The problem is people don't want to. It's all about whether or not, are you going to get sales off of collaborating with this person on YouTube? And you think, well, okay, I've got 17,000 subscribers roughly. That's not a whole lot. But considering everything that I've done on this channel has been with one printer, and literally all the content I've been filming has been done with my phone, or in some cases the GoPro if it stays on long enough to actually function. Bought it brand new. If you run it in 80-degree temperatures, you're not getting more than 20 minutes of recording time before it decides to shut itself down. So I'm doing what I can with what I got. But and that was the idea about doing a collaboration. It's like, look, if you've got a machine that you say can do this, that, and the other, and you're putting out your own commercials on YouTube, like Makira is doing it for the Carvera and the Carvera Air and things like that, which I could also use for developing parts of this drone. That would really test the capabilities of the machine, because you're going from not just the hobbyist side of building drones, but you're going to something a little bit more innovative and a bit bigger. And you want to know that your machine can handle it. Now, between the Makira and the Penta's machine, the Pocket NC, so between the Carvera and the Pocket NC, I could see using both of them as viable options for specific parts. The Penta, obviously, the machine from Penta would be the Pocket NC. It does have the room in it for doing the blade geometry that I have, and it could handle it. And it has the multi-axis. I think it's a 5-axis. Yeah, tell me about it. Old GoPro. For you, it shouldn't be a problem. You just put it in the water. The great part about this, the Hero 13, is you could put the whole thing in the water without a case. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the Penta could handle the geometry, and it could handle the size of the blades that I have on that drone. And the ductwork can be 3D printed or carbon fiber. But the main drive system and the actual stator hub where the actual drive shaft goes through, I'd love it to be an alloy. 70-75 aluminum. But alas, none of these companies want to look at me yet, because I don't have, I guess I don't have the presence on YouTube that they think will accommodate them getting more sales. But if you look at the project, you tell me if that drone wouldn't get somebody's attention. Completely lit up at night, taking off in the air, and then either Penta and Makira being able to go, our product helped build that machine. You would think they would go, oh, well, yeah, we'll do that. You know, you don't have to give it to me. Loan it to me. And I'll tell you why. It's because I don't have $12,000 lying around. You know? When this thing maidens, it's gonna fly the way it is, even with the PETG blades. But at the same time, I want the rigidity of aircraft grade aluminum in the drive system. Most of it can stay 3D printed, pretty much 90% of it. But the actual drive shaft and the hub and the blades, I would love to alloy, including the stator hub in the center, which holds the bearings. But the problem is, none of these companies want to get back. Yeah, we'll work with you. We'll set you up. We'll let you use it. It would get them some publicity. Can you imagine the publicity that they would get if I do the blades with their machine and let everybody know it before that thing takes off? That's gonna sound like a jet taking off from my backyard. I had to design a cart to put that on so I could get it into a trailer just to get it to the testing field when I'm done. It's massive. It's totally massive. I mean, it's the biggest, and it's not even really that heavy, you know? That's the beautiful part about it. It's a big drone, but it's not that heavy. And it won't be much heavier with the 3 batteries in it and in the other 2 motors and ESCs. I mean, it's easy to lift up, but it's got all that thrust potential. So, you know, if you were a CNC company and you saw that project, you would think to yourself, well, let's get in on the ground level with this thing. And let's let the world know that, you know, yeah, he made this beautiful drone, but it was our equipment that milled out those blades, and that I would definitely give them the credit for that, for sure. But like I said, there's not a lot of people out there who are going to look at me and go, oh yeah, let's collab. You know, let's collab. We'll send you a machine you try it. Because why? I've got under 20,000 subs. And I doubt they would even offer me anything. I doubt they would offer me anything even at 20 or 30 or 40,000 subs. It's quite brutal how the algorithm has been acting lately on YouTube. Yes, it does. It has a potential for greatness. And thank you, Roy. It's a. Oh, did you say? Oh yeah, that is beautiful, man. Okay, I'm like, I was gonna say, oh, well, yeah, I am a beautiful man. But yeah, I agree. The drone's beautiful. It's a shock to me, and I've been trying. I was thinking of different ways, safely, of course, to approach different companies and go, this is what I'm doing. This is the reason why I'm building this platform. It can be used for fire mitigation, search and rescue. In the military, it could be used for several applications. We won't even get into that. And it's a ducted system, so you don't have to worry about, you know, running into stuff and breaking your props. The second version of this, which is a little bit bigger, the engine's gimbal. They're not stationary like this one. They actually gimbal, so the entire system can turn like a book, straight up and down. So you got 2 engines here and 2 engines down here. Because they gimbal, they're on arms, like feet almost, which have joints. You know, the legs have joints. So the first top 2 engines actually, let's say the drone is sitting straight up and down, and your engines have oriented themselves vertical. The top 2 engines go out. so that the wake from those engines don't disrupt the wake from the bottom engines that are vertical as well. This allows the drone to literally gimbal itself in book mode, is like I like to call it, straight up and down, to get through tree lines, ravines, between houses, down alleys, and still has the capability to deploy whatever it needs to. First aid supplies to people who are in distress. It could pull people off of flooded buildings on a gurney without having to bring in a helicopter. It's EDF driven. So what would happen would be it would have more power and be more or less susceptible to wind disruption when it locks itself into hover mode. Because in the gimbaling design, the engines are vertical until it decides to lock itself to drop a gurney for rescue. Then the engines camber, or they toe out slightly at each corner, and then they pick up RPMs. And what that does is do a nav hold and then locks it into position so it can drop supplies, medical supplies, a gurney if you have to, if you got to get somebody out of there. It can also be outfitted with fire mitigation grenades, you know, those ones that blow up when they throw it into a burning building and it sucks the oxygen out of the hot spot and kills the fire. You could outfit it with one of those rotary type cannons to fire those fire mitigation grenades into hot spots. It can go into caves. It can go, I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And it can brush the sides of the walls and still be flying. It could be brushing trees and still be flying because we're not getting anything in those props. They're going to be protected because in the end, most of the intake is going to be covered, but only to the point where it doesn't limit the airflow that I need for it to run efficiently. So anything from the top, anything from the sides is not going to disrupt the actual thrust of each individual engine on that version. Yeah, it's going to be gimbaled. Yeah, the fire grenades are cool, and I think it would be if you had 5 or 6 of these drones out hitting a fire before it takes off. And with a top speed of about 530 miles an hour with this thing, you could get in and out quick. You know, you go in, you're just boom, 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 firing those grenades, putting out the fire. It could even drop that retardant, the fire retardant stuff, without having to use large aircraft. You just get a fleet of these out there with a 400-pound lift capacity. It could do the job. So, me personally, I'm surprised that more people aren't interested. Now, I haven't gone to other companies, a lot of companies, and said, "This is what I have. This is what I'd like to do. Are you interested?" Mainly because I just haven't done it yet. Because I want to get this maiden to go. I want it to fly. Once I prove airworthiness, then I move on to stage 2. That's alloyed system, carbon fiber pieces, aluminum reinforcements, that kind of stuff. Adding the type of things that are necessary for each particular role so that it can be demonstrated, like search and rescue, fire mitigation, reconnaissance. These are the type of systems that I think the military would be interested in, because you can bring them into an area and they can be the color of whatever the terrain is, and they can drop down and sit, and there's really no way you'd be able to see it, let's say in the sand next to some rocks or whatever. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You wouldn't even know it was there, especially since you wouldn't know it existed. And then if the military had to do any reconnaissance with it or pop-up strikes, they could, because it does have a payload capacity. So you imagine that you literally dead drop these things in an area that you're trying to do reconnaissance on or security on, and the military could engage literally on the ground under radar
the thing has a cross section of a mosquito on radar, if not less. Um, and it can move so fast across the surface that it it would be too late for any enemy combatant to defend against. So, um, yeah, for civilian use. But we're talking like the idea is possibly it could be used in the military. So the version I'm going to build obviously is not going to try to demonstrate that. It'll be well demonstrated its capabilities in the search and rescue operations realm. The weight that can lift, the things that how it can fly, how low it can go, places it can get in and out of really quickly, um, and of course the weight that it can carry, or delivering first aid, food to people that are trapped in flooded areas, things like that. Um, Hikers that are stranded or injured, that kind of thing. Um, you could bring first aid and communications to them, and you wouldn't have to worry so much about the limitations of most of these large agricultural or rescue octocopter type drones that are running off of batteries because they have limited time. Because I'm going to be use a hydrogen fuel system to power the next version of this. And since it'll be running off of a PEM membrane that's pushing 75 volts at roughly 500 amps, you put a few tanks in it, you get about an hour, hour and a half of runtime, and you're running on straight hydrogen. And uh, I think there's so many different opportunities for this drone in the public sector, in the private sector, um, in the military sector. I mean, in the law enforcement sector, and just there's so many things it could do, and I think it would be beneficial in a lot of different ways. Whether other people see that or not isn't up to me. It's just going to have to be proven through testing. First, the maiden flight, then do a lift test with PETG. I know I'm going to be over the tensile strength of the PETG. We already know that. But we are going to alloy the blade system and drive system. ADS-B would be good for search and rescue, so you don't run into other emergency aircraft. Oh well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, that's the great part about this is it's going to have if I use it for any one of those operations, it's going to have the obstacle avoidance. It's going to have real time data of aircraft in the air at all times. It does have an AI system that I've modeled to operate those things, and it does have the it's going to be equipped with lidar sensors, uh, all types of scanners that I need, visual and infrared, um, just to basically map its entire area. The idea behind this drone is not just to do what it was designed to do, but for it to have its own spatial awareness at all times, in all directions, an omnidirectional spatial awareness that is not limited to line of sight, but is also augmented by flight radar systems that know where aircraft are in the air. So it's going to collect all the data that it can, assess its environment, and then figure out the most appropriate form of action for a search and rescue operation or a fire mitigation job, whatever it is. It can even do inspections on dams and buildings, things like that. And I think it's just the best way to go. We need to get away from open props, and a lot of it has to do also with the future of personal conveyance. They're coming out with these drones right now. I've seen a couple of them, and I just shake my head. They got one with like 12 engines on it. It's this big old helicopter looking thing. Then you've got the ones that are like quads, but you need a helicopter pad to take off from it. That's not a flying car. That's just a different kind of helicopter. You need, if you're going to build a flying car, it cannot take up the footprint of anything more than an SUV. It still has to be able to drive on the road, and it has to be able to transition to air flight. Now, EDFs are where you're going to find that power. And that's where you're going to find it in a smaller package. So, because, I mean, let's look at these flying cars now. Like I've said before, you imagine a Black Friday sale and everyone's zipping into Target on one of these flying cars that they got now. There's going to be a massacre when somebody drives the park. There's going to be like, I've got my flying car. Quick, get to Target. And they're like, everyone's lined up out front. The drone comes in, and and it's just like The Walking Dead outside afterwards. So we need something that fits the infrastructure until the infrastructure can subtly change to accommodate a more or less restricted design. So that's what you have to consider. I've seen those drones that you sit in, and it's a one-person drone, and you're flying around, and you've got 8 blades, 8 motors, and it's a limited runtime, and so on and so forth. And it looks like it's fun, but to be anywhere near that thing when somebody's piloting it, if something goes wrong, someone's going to get seriously hurt. With ducted systems, internal drogue chutes, soft landing, quick soft landing thrusters if necessary, cold gas thrusters, it could be a fairly safe means of conveyance that could hold more than one person or 2 people. Yeah, shouldn't have been standing there. What about FCC accreditation? Have you worked on or talked to them? This is registered as a UAS already with the FAA. I've got my tail number and everything for it. Accreditation, honestly, I've got to get past the maiden and the flight worthiness test before I can bring anything to the table, which will happen soon enough as long as I get past the tariffs and I get all my parts. So yeah, it's going to take a little while, but we're getting there. About 70 pounds. It's closer to 50, but I overestimated. It's about 70 pounds. The PETG alone to print it was 28 kilograms. Now that doesn't count the support material. That did count the support material, so it's probably closer to 20 on the kilograms as far as the overall weight of the drone itself. So yeah, about, I want to say closer to maybe 55, 60 pounds, somewhere around there. We'll get a final weight once we get everything on board, and then go from there. Because when you switch from the LiPo to the hydrogen system, you might get a little bit more weight on board. But I'm trying to leave that open as far as the weight's concerned with the FAA. Because once I move to hydrogen, then it's a whole new ball game. So what do we want to do next? After this maiden and it flies, and I will probably do that live, hopefully. I can do that live. Or I'll just make a video on it. I don't know. Not a lot of people watch this, and I have so many people that ask me why they haven't seen this channel before, and the only thing I can think of is that YouTube doesn't like me. Yeah, over 55 is the tail number. That's exactly right. You can get hydrogen anywhere. There's vehicles that think the Toyota Maya, and a couple other ones. You know, there's some county vehicles around here in my town that are hydrogen, and there's a fueling station. So as long as you have the appropriate hydrogen fuel cells or the hydrogen bottles, um, and they're actual hydrogen bottles, not something you made, um, then you can just go fill them up, just like at the gas station. And then it's either that or you have to do the electrolysis yourself and then compress the gases after separating them. So, and that's what's on the actual ship. And I've said it. You didn't hear that. One day I'll put that on YouTube. Anyway, yes. On-demand hydrogen electrolysis using either chemical reactions or straight water electrolysis on demand, compressing into primary tanks, which go into secondary tanks, which go into the actual fuel tanks, which gives you a buffer. It's stored in a hydride, carbon hydride, so like basically burnt chicken feathers. They make perfect carbon lattices that will hold hydrogen, and that will make the storage of the hydrogen much safer. You could put a cigarette out in it and it would just smolder, because you have to heat the hydride up in order to get the hydrogen out of it. So those carbon lattice structures that come from literally chicken feathers, just basically burnt chicken feathers. You know how you'd gasify a wood and you would just have the carbon left over? Well, it's more or less the same process. And then you have these carbon nanotubes that will hold the hydrogen in place until heated with the rod that's inserted into the tank, and that will let the hydrogen back out, and that will fuel what's going on. Oh, Roy, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Why is it not letting me click things? Roy is the man. You have 40 chickens. You're halfway there. Just gotta pluck them. Keep the feathers. There's your carbon nanotubes. Yeah, you just gasify it, just like they use wood to gasify for fuel, and then just pack the feathers down in there. Thank you very much, Roy. I'll definitely keep going. We'll be doing more lives later on too, as soon as I get those ESCs in, because I want to do a comparison against the Mad Components ESCs and the ones that I found stateside that are the same specs but two different companies, and we're going to do some thermal runs on those to see how they look. So we'll do that live too. But I appreciate you, Roy, and I will see you again soon. So stay safe out there. Thanks for dropping by. One thing I can tell you though is hydrogen is definitely the solution for future power. Okay, unless NASA's got some RTGs laying around they're not using. Since the government's shut down, maybe they'll let me borrow one. But to be honest with you, that's not the kind of power supply that I'm looking for. I'm looking for something more natural, something that's easily attainable, and the byproduct is water and oxygen. You can't beat that. Hey, give me I'll definitely, I want to sub to you so I can check that out. I want to watch the progress for sure. So, can I do that from here? Let's see. I don't know if I can or not. No, if I click your name, it'll just give me options. Come on. So, yeah, send me an email for sure with your channel link so I can make sure I sub to you, because I want to check that out, Maverick. So what do you guys think about? See, this will have blue lights in it. That'll look pretty cool. But I was thinking, because I was bored, I was like, what if we put this right there on the front of the drone, and then we fly it around like that, light it up. That would be awesome. Wouldn't that be cool? It's supposed to be a mask you wear under a hoodie, I guess, so it looks like it's got cat ears, but I'll fix that. I'll 3D print something to put on there, make like a horns or something. But that, I think, would be perfect flying through the air like that. That's what I think. I'm thinking that would be awesome. You have to admit, if that's flying at you and it's all lit up. Oh man, that would be so much fun. Subscribe, share with your friends. I had to, sorry. It's just, I love being able to chat with you guys when it comes to this stuff. Because it's this whole project is just creating things is a passion of mine. And I think my entire life I was waiting for technology to catch up to my brain so I could actually start putting things together. And then most people go, well, if you had that much intelligence and you were making up this stuff, why didn't you make the machinery to do it yourself? And I thought to myself, that's an interesting point. Mind your business. No, I had all these dreams growing up as a kid. When I was, oh my gosh, this is a funny story. When I was 5, okay, I was convinced that a sheet from a bed could be used as a parachute. I was wrong. And nobody in the neighborhood stopped me. I'm 5 years old. I'm on the roof, like the eaves, the very tip of the eaves, like a 20-foot drop, right, of the house. And I'm 5 years old, so I just got, my shorts on that I was running around in the backyard with. So I tied the sheet 4 corners to my shorts. And I held it up, and I jumped off the roof. It didn't work. Didn't slow me down one bit. I had knee imprints in the grass. I'm 5 years old doing this stuff. And I didn't hurt myself. Nothing broke. I didn't hurt my legs. I didn't hurt my knees. I didn't break a bone. I just found out that a sheet is not a parachute. Copy and paste what in another tab? Let's see here. What am I copying and pasting? I don't know what you're saying. Modder 4, I have no idea. Oh, did you send it in email? Yeah, if you did, I will check it out. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can check it real quick. Are you serious? Okay, it's on my other computer. The email is on my other computer. Oh, well, that's what I'm trying to find.
Take the Huskies thing out.
Oh, go to channel. Hold on. Yeah, I'll let that out right now. Hold on one second. There you are. Boom, subscribed. Did you get it? Vivian, go. Come on, honey. You got that? No, no. Coyotes are skittish. Vivian, come. Colt. Vivian. Colt is like full on husky Malamute, so he doesn't listen to a damn thing. He's like a 70-pound toddler. Okay, I think I subbed to you just now, Maverick. Yeah, I did. Okay. Now I'll be able to check everything out. That's what I want to do. You're doing some cool stuff. Amphibious rover project. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to see the updates on that for sure. I didn't see the link come up, but I did. It doesn't matter. It sounds like you're about to post some really cool stuff, so yeah, don't worry. I'll be watching. You know, I had this channel for a long time before I decided to use it for drone power concepts, and so it shows I joined. I don't know how many years ago, but it's only been about 2.5 years that I started this project, where I was going through the stages of understanding EDFs and how they're controlled by flight controllers, and different things like that. And you can kind of see the entire history of where I started from some of my really, really ridiculous ideas that looked dumb, to be honest with you, but they were just experiments, to what you see now, which is some fairly interesting designs. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fun journey. That's the whole thing. It's you're building something new. You're experimenting. Sometimes these things don't work. Sometimes they do, and then when they do, you go, okay, what did I do right? And then you go, okay, cool. Well, what didn't work on the craft? Change it or get rid of it. I kind of like to do things like that. I kind of like to. Cool, 251. Yeah. Start putting that stuff out, man. We'd love to see it. And then anybody who sub to me, man, go check out Maverick's channel. Sub to him. Support him. Support his work. He's doing some cool stuff. Sounds like I want to see it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my stuff is specific towards what I'm trying to build, but that's the whole point, really. And then, of course, the other point was, can we do this with off-the-shelf components without having to build my own motors, without having to build my own ESCs? What's out there? So that if somebody else wants to do the exact same thing, they can just go do it. I mean, they can have the STLs for the little drone, not the big one, not yet. And then they can go out and get the components that I have on the list, and they can go, yeah, I want to build this. I think I actually have, it's either on Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. I have both of those links on there. So you can go on there, and I think on one of them I actually have the STL files for the 4x70mm trike. So you can download those, print it up, and then experiment on your own with your own gear. There is a components list on there. Man, you're asking the right questions, man. All right. Yeah, I've been looking for them, and I actually found a couple because I was looking for 18S ESCs. I needed 18S ESCs because that's what I'm running for the Maiden. And at first, I could only find them from Mad Components, which was overseas, which is why we were dealing with the whole tariff thing, which is the reason for the video. It's like the tariffs are killing us when it comes to trying to build things that we want to build because everything's coming from China. But I did manage to find some ESCs through Amazon that were 18S. Different manufacturer. They look roughly the same. I think they're clones of the Mad Components ESCs. That's what I'm concerned about. I want to make sure that they fit the bill, if you know what I mean. So we're going to run the Mad Components ESCs, which I had to pay the tariffs on. And we're going to run the other ones, which don't have tariffs, but are about $30 more, $35 more than the other ones, which, if you think about it, pretty much ends up being the same price. And we're going to see if, in the thermal aspect, if they both handle things the same way. So, like on the front two engines, I would put one Mad Components ESC and then one of the off-brand, and then run them both, and then have a thermal cam on them and see how they work. Run them for a certain amount of time, run them under load, and then see what happens. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a clone. It's either a clone or it's just another company that's making similar ESCs. So I don't want to say clone in the aspect like it's something I found on Temu. It's more or less an actual ESC manufacturer. But the kicker is, I think what they're doing is that they're getting the components, the base components from China, and then they're assembling the ESCs here. So the price is a little bit higher because they're paying for the tariffs on the parts they're getting from China, and then they're building it here and storing it here, so it's stateside. Which makes it good for me because I can get it quicker. Might be a little bit more pricey, but then I don't have to worry about these surprise duty and taxes tariffs like when it gets shipped by DHL because Amazon handles the shipping. So that's one of the main reasons why you want to do it that way. So, well, guys, it's about 4 o'clock, and I've been here the whole time. If I have legs, I can't feel them. So, no, I'm good. But I do have to wrap it up here pretty quick so that we can, so I can go eat my lunch. I skipped it. MGM Motors sounds familiar. I may have seen a few ads for that. MGM. I'll check them out and see what they have to say. Again, the problem is probably tariffs. It's always going to be tariffs. But, I mean, Germans are good at engineering stuff until they decide to go to war with the world again. Because when Germany goes to war, they don't go to war with specific. They go to war with the whole world for some reason. I don't know why. But other than that, I do want to thank everyone for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I hope some people got some useful information. I hope that it kind of opened your eyes up to the channel and what we're doing here, and it's something intriguing, something that you'll share with your friends. I thank everyone for the support. You guys are great. Every one of you helped to support this channel. Every one of you, every subscriber, every newcomer. And that's who I do it for. I'm doing it for you guys because I want to give the world something new, but at the same time, I want to give you guys something new because people in this field, we rarely get any recognition for building anything new. And you know what? I don't have to have personal recognition for it as long as it eventually brings a smile to somebody's face or saves a life. If that's all that I ever accomplish with this drone, then that's good enough for me. So, with that, I would like to say from everyone here at DPC, which is basically me and my wife at this point, and my brother, who basically I've been gouging for the money to get most of this stuff. We thank you. We thank you for your participation. We thank you for sticking around. We thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing. We thank you all. I love each and every one of you. I can't wait to see you again on the next one, and I cannot wait for the maiden. And when this maiden happens, I'm going to be terrified, but it's going to be fun. So, until next time, you guys stay safe. Don't forget to just work on those ideas. You know, don't let anything hold you back. Just try it. If it doesn't work the first time, it'll work the second time. If it doesn't work the second time, it'll work the third time. You only got to get it right once. I mean, that's how it works. So don't give up and keep creating. And from everyone here at DPC, we love you. And we will see you real soon. Maverick. Here I am trying to do an outro and you gotta make me laugh. All right, man. You guys are cool. I will see you again soon. Real soon, we'll do another live pretty quick. And I'll have some videos out of my progress on my soldering on this and everything else going on. So you guys have a wonderful evening. And I will see you maybe this weekend with another live. So maybe Sunday. Count on Sunday, maybe 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We'll do another live, and we'll catch you up on the progress. So until then, y'all have a wonderful evening. Love you all. I've been DPC. I'm out.